I would like to welcome everyone here this afternoon. Thank you for attending, and I hope you're all keeping very well, because you know there's a lot of illness going around at the moment and people's not well. And we'll welcome the petitioners that's here this afternoon. Hope you enjoy the meeting. And without further ado, I would ask if there's any apologies for this afternoon. Rebecca, have you any apologies, please?
Yes, Chair, I've got apologies for Councillor Carty, and Councillor Poshi is going to be half an hour late.
Thank you.
Councillor Reid.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor? No. Thank you. Rebecca, have we any members' disclosures of interest, please? Liz?
Yeah, I have Lynn in the petition for the dogs on the prom at Newbiggin as the ward councillor, and I have signed the petition, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Liz. Alex?
Yeah, I would like some clarity, to be honest, because I'm on the petitions committee. So I'm not really sure, with two petitions being on here, should I listen to them? To be honest, if it was planning, I think I'd be okay, because this isn't decision making. And if it comes to the petition, it would be with additional information. But I don't know, I would just like some direction.
Well, I mean, you know, you can stay, but obviously if you don't, I mean, it's just to agree recommendations, etc. Perhaps just to have a discussion today. But, you know, I'm quite happy if you don't want to participate, you know, just to stay. I'm quite happy for you to remain. Cliff?
Thanks, Chair. I'll declare an interest in the Newsham petition. I'm the ward councillor and I've signed the petition too.
Oh, right. Thank you very much, Cliff. No one else? No. Oh, sorry.
I might just want to make a note, Chair. South Newsham Road runs through my ward, adjacent to Cliff's ward, Newsham, so just probably better to
disclose an interest.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Well, so therefore we will move on to the petitions, page 1 to 10. And our first petitioner, if he would like to, you know, switch his microphone on, and you have 5 minutes. Sorry. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm being over anxious there, but to get you started. Yeah, just Rebecca, sorry, have we got any new petitions, please?
Sorry, Chair, yes. We've got a new petition titled Make Hurst Park Playing Fields a No Dog Area. It was opened on the 21st of January and it closed a month later on the 21st of February. It received 278 signatures, so it has passed the threshold and it will be coming with a report to a future meeting.
Thank you, Rebecca. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
That's duly noted. Right, sorry. So the gentleman who's going to be reporting on this is... Sorry.
It's your... It's
oh,
the dogs. It's the dogs one first, sorry.
I'm awfully sorry. I know. I should be reading this out. Please forgive us. Right. This has come from the lady who can't be here today, and the lady's called Tracy Lansbury, and she can't attend today because of work commitments, so she unfortunately she can't attend, so I will read it out on her behalf. With mental well-being at a low and with many individuals benefiting from fresh air and daily exercise, the promenade of Newbiggin by the sea is a popular place to use. Unfortunately, due to the amount of unleashed, out-of-control dogs, this prevents this from happening, and it is being avoided by some. Having lived in Newbiggin by the sea all my life, a dog owner, and use the promenade on a daily basis, I have noticed an increase of out-of-control dogs. I have personally been verbally attacked on more than one occasion from owners whom I have asked politely to recall their dogs. If they have viciously approached myself and my leashed dogs, I do not feel intimidated when I'm approached. The dog owner said, but you are nervous and uneasy of what the outcome of the situation may result in, i.e. altercation, dog fights, vet bills, etc. This can turn into a very stressful experience when in fact going for a walk on the promenade should be an enjoyable one. I feel strongly that locals and visitors alike should feel comfortable and safe whilst using the promenade. It is the biggest attraction of the village and used all year round. Users should not feel anxiety or worry of being approached or in the vicinity of aggressive dogs. Although I'm a dog owner and appreciate the need exercise, a pedestrianised area is not the place. Dogs can be and should be walked on leash to make the area fully accessible for all users, that being other dog walkers, children, pushchairs, wheelchairs and those with poor mobility, without fear of being approached by out-of-control dogs. These dogs are often causing nuisance, chasing balls the owners throw for them, running around in groups, causing potential trip hazards. If the owners can be encouraged to do so elsewhere, this would make the promenade a more user-friendly walkway. I have witnessed owners separated from their unleashed dogs, not knowing where they actually are, and certainly not noticing them fouling, therefore unaware to pick up their faeces. This in itself is a very big problem. If all dogs were leashed whilst walking the promenade, I feel confident this fouling problem would decrease. The average owner would surely feel compelled to pick up rather than plead ignorance or innocent and walk on by. I look forward to the findings from the enforcement officers who will be patrolling during 2022. I hope that they will be in a regular attendance and attentive to the situation to provide a full and frank report. I urge you to consider the wider community, make a prudent decision to ask for dogs on leads to become mandatory to ensure a safe experience for all. This could be achieved by deploying enforcement officers and erecting signages and use of fines and using social media to inform users. And that's the lady's statement. Right, now we will just perhaps ask members if they would like to ask the petitioner's not yet, it's me. Sorry, I don't know anything about it, but what I'll do is I'll ask Stephen to respond if any member has got any questions to Stephen before we just move to the recommendations. Has anyone got any questions? Brian?
It's not so much a question but more a statement, but it leads on to questions. I'm a dog owner and I go down to Newbiggin and it's a lovely walk. And I'm pleased that the petitioner has mentioned the fact of dog fouling. And I totally agree with her, with the dogs that are let loose and just run around. So I agree with the enforcement, but enforcement can't just be notices, it has to be enforced. And I know NCC have got COVID cameras. I'd like to think they could use them. And also, we should be, if this petition goes through and people are fined, that we actually announce, obviously not the personal details of that person, but how many people have been fined along that beach. The lifeboat station along there do a fantastic job, as the ward council will probably tell you. They go along there and they pick all this mess up from dogs to make sure the promenade's clean. We need proper enforcement. We need it to be a pleasurable walk, and it is a beautiful walk. So let us just protect that. So it's more a statement than it is anything else, but it would need to back it up as well. So thank you.
Stephen, would you like to respond?
Well, just to say, obviously, we do spend a lot of time in that area because we have had quite a few fouling complaints. We do what we can. It's obviously hard to catch people because when they see somebody who looks like an enforcement officer, quite often they'll pick up even though they might not have. So yes, we are aware that that is a big problem, and we'll continue to get down there. And then we'll see what happens with the petition, because obviously that'll be the same enforcement officers dealing with that dogs on lead if that comes in.
Ken, I'll bring you in first and I'll bring Brian back in.
Oh, sorry. Can we put a condition on the length of the lead? A lot of people use these retractable leads that can go 7 to 8 metres. I mean, fair enough, it'll be on a lead, but it'll be halfway down the promenade.
Stephen, would you like to reply?
Yes, it's actually written it's 1.5 metres, the lead. So that's in the current areas where you have to have a dog in a lead, like cemeteries and by the side of A and B roads. So 1.5 metres.
And is that put on notices?
Yes.
Is it? Because I haven't seen them.
No, there are some around. But, there's only in areas where at the minute you have to have your dog in a lead, like say like cemeteries. So if you go to Cemetery in Blyth, there'll be notices on the thing telling you, it tells you 1.5 metres.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, Ken. Is that okay? Brian would like to come back in?
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. Just one further point, and I'm trying to find it within the notes, but I'm sure I've read it, that if somebody is caught breaking the rules along this promenade, that there would be a warning first. So the reality is, why do we need to warn people when the rules are there? It's very plain, clear, that if the dogs are on a leader, and if they're dog fouling, that we don't just have a polite chat with them. It's the old saying, rules are rules.
Stephen, do you like to...
No, we don't. We don't warn people. If you see somebody let the dog foul, they are issued a fixed penalty for it. And that would be the same with dogs on lead. I mean, I've issued about 5 or 6 in cemeteries when dogs have been off the lead. So we don't, as long as the signs are up, we don't warn people. So, zero tolerance.
Does that answer your question, Brian? Yes, thank you. Mark, would you like to come in?
Please, Stephen, when you said they're visible and they know who the wardens are or who the, can they not be more covert then? Can they, you know, I mean, you know, the police does it, so I'm sure you can do it as well. Thank you.
Stephen?
Yeah, we do go down like not wearing uniforms. I mean, we haven't got high visors and flashy lights or anything, but you're not allowed to hide. You have to be in plain sight all the time. So, you know, you're not allowed to hide. So what I'm saying is, if you're in an area where there's just dog walkers and there's a person there and they turn around, they see a person stand there, quite often they'll get a bag for life out of the pocket and pick it up. And you know they weren't going to if you weren't there. But so, yeah, it is quite hard to do, but we do that. And sometimes two of us will go down and take one of our dogs for a walk as well to look like a dog walker. But even that's frowned upon by...
Thank you. Mark, anyone else? Oh, Kath, would you like to come in?
Yeah, I would. You know, when you do these fixed penalties, do you broadcast them on in the papers and that, so we can let people know that something is being done? Because I think the problem we've got is people are just doing this willy-nilly because they think they're never going to get caught. But if they get caught and then you introduce the fine, publicise that to let them know we are doing this, and I think it goes a long way.
Yeah, it's always publicised if people are taken to court, if they don't pay the fine. But we tend not to, you know, if we had 2 fixed penalties for dog fouling, one was in Blyth, one was in Ashington, we wouldn't necessarily publicise that because, you know...
Can I come back in?
Yeah, of course.
No, I do. I think this is great bringing this petition here, mind, because I think it's much needed, because it's not just Newbiggin, it's all over. It's the southeast corner is terrible. It will be in the rural areas as well, because they're not getting seen. But I just think we do need to do that a little bit more, because where we're from in Blyth, it's everywhere you walk, there's dog poo there. It's not being picked up, and I think some people that do. If you say anything to them or you offer them a bag, they'll tell you to politely F off. You know, it's not nice, it's not good. But I'm pleased the petition's come here.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, would you like to come in?
Yeah, could you just clarify for me, is this a request for Newbiggin only? Because Kath said all and everywhere. I mean, Camas is not included at all, you know, so not unusual for Camas.
Thank you. Anyone else before we read out the recommendation, the officer's recommendation? Thank you. Well, the recommendation is to publicly consult in September 2022 on adding this measure that dogs must be placed on leads on Newbiggin Promenade in January 2023 to the existing Northumberland County Council Dog Control Public Spaces Protection Order. Are we all in agreement with the recommendation? Thank you very, very much. And thank you, Stephen, for coming. We do appreciate it. I don't know if you would like to stay, or is that you off to do, but to catch somebody at Newbiggin before it gets dark.
Yeah, I'll help, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry? Yeah. I'll just let Stephen go. Right, when we come to petition number 2, and the lead petitioner is Mr Stuart Ferguson, and you have 5 minutes, Mr Ferguson, if you would like to switch your microphone on and read your statement out. It would be greatly appreciated.
Yes,
Thank you.
good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me here, by the way. Just to give you a little bit brief background on all this. This hasn't just happened, by the way. This has been going on since 2011, where Mrs Deirdre Campbell tried to fight the cause, and her words not mine, she was getting nowhere. We actually managed to get a 30-mile-an-hour speed sign through funding through the parish council, which really it's located in the wrong area. Okay, since then it's been going on and on and on. Right, this road where I live, right, is a death trap. Okay, if we can revert back to some of your statistics that you've given me today from April 2021, you said, well, it goes back before that. There was a serious accident outside my premises which wiped out the bin store and the signage. The police were involved, so that should be on your records. And on April 2021, there was a car turning right into Park Farm Barns, visiting his parents who live in the old farmhouse, and he was shunted at the back, writing the car off. The police were also informed there. So they should be on this information that's for today, by the way. As come to your speed surveys, right, we had a meeting with yourself, Neil, yes? Your words, not mine, sir, were you were shocked at the speeds and also the volume of traffic. And I said to you, I would like to see a calibration of your equipment, because 46 miles an hour, that's the highest speed recorded. I tell you now, right, you'd be happy to see anything at 40 miles an hour on that road at this moment in time. It's absolutely ridiculous. Even this morning, I was up early this morning. Well, not up. I was out early this morning. It took me 3 minutes, not a word of a lie, to get across the road. Now, when you see children coming from school and going to school, right, it's absolutely a nightmare. I go and get my grandson on a Monday and a Wednesday. I will not allow him to walk along that road. I go and pick him up at the bus stop at the Newcastle Road ends and walk him there. And in the past, since September, I've witnessed 3 near misses of children running across that road. It's mind-blowing that there's a play park as well. So it's just attracting children to run across that road. You know, surely, as all grown-up adults, we've got a duty of care and responsibility here. And as you may not be aware, on 2 weeks ago, there was a serious accident on the road where a 16-year-old young lady was knocked out. She was rushed to Newcastle General Hospital, the RVI, right, with head injuries. She came out ICU, but she's still seriously poorly. As you can see, I'm quite passionate about this. When we had the meeting with Neil, who I got positive vibes out of, I've seen nothing so far, Neil. I also sent yourself and a colleague on the 22nd of February an email. Did you receive that email, please? Okay, fair enough then. But on that email, I did ask the question, because you made a statement that you were going back to the office to speak to the police that day to see if we could get the police involvement, and also you would do a new traffic survey. We're now coming up to April, and I've seen neither. Okay. We have had one in 2021. We have a visit with Mr. Ian Levy, MP of Blyth, with the police. They were there 15 to 20 minutes, then they had a shout, they had to go somewhere else. But in that period of 20 minutes, the police were horrified at how many people were speeding on that road. I don't have the statistics how many people got fined. I don't know if Councillor Humphrey has that, but anyway, like I say, there's some more evidence. I just really can't say enough about we all should be taking this more serious. And now the road cannot cope with the volume of traffic at this moment in time. And if you look at the Millers, the Wimpy, the Belloways, and you've got the affordable houses, and, which I'm all in favour of, the train station which is going to open, right, that road cannot cope with this volume of traffic. So summing up, to be honest with you, I've got a few points I would like to put. I would like to know when the road survey is going to take place. Have the police been informed again to see if the police can come? just for everybody's information here, on the way out of on the B1523 out of Blyth, there is not one sign saying 30 mile an hour. Going back to what I said when Ian Levy was there, right? Okay, it had the desired effect, by the way, because on social media the same day, by the way, the airways were blue. They couldn't believe that it was even 30 mile an hour. People in Blyth didn't realise it was a 30 mile an hour speed limit. That tells you something, surely.
Sum it up because I know you're very passionate.
Right, okay.
I mean, I will allow you that because I know you.
Don't mind it.
No, I don't.
I'll be very quick, okay? Traffic calming measures. I'm led to believe, I understand the council, by the way, don't want to spend a lot of money on the traffic calming measures at this moment in time because there's going to be work done at the Millers area, right? But you must have some idea of what your proposals are. I would like to see them as well, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, you're very passionate and we do appreciate your statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, is there any members would like to ask, excuse me, Mr Ferguson, any questions with regard to his passionate plea? Cliff?
It's not much of a question to Mr Ferguson, it's more just to add my opinion on the road. Something I think needs to be taken into account on the road is the environment of it. It's not just a road where traffic speeds on. The actual path is bang on the road. There's no grass verge. So you've got children walking back and forwards, and adults, trying to cross the road, walking back and forwards. There's no crossings, there's nothing on that road. There's a small roundabout at Cottonwood Green, which I was told originally would be classed as a traffic calming measure. It doesn't, it's that small. You can just drive straight over it in a car and not even slow it down, and cars do that. One of the things I was going to mention as well, the facts are from the police. I know there's been 3 accidents since I was elected there, which have had injuries, which Mr Ferguson alluded to. So maybe we need to check them facts. And again, I would like the stats that Mr Ferguson mentioned as well. When Ian Levy was on site with a police officer, he was there 15 minutes and over 20 people were issued with tickets in that 50 minutes on that section of road. I can't remember the exact number, but I know it was 2021 or something like that. But that's astonishing. And I mean, Neil visited on the 21st of December. We were, it was a pretty quiet time of day. I think it was a 1 o'clock appointment. We met there, and the amount of traffic. There was even council vans fired that speed sign off. So something needs to be done here. Yes, we realise, we accept there's buildings going on, building sites in that area, and we don't want to be spending lots of money and wasting it on massive speed calming, but we need to slow the traffic down on this road soon. It is a very dangerous stretch of road, and we need to get something sorted. So, thank you.
Thank you, Cliff. What I'll do is I'll hopefully that either Neil or Robin will respond to you, Cliff, or indeed Mr Ferguson, and then if anyone other member wants to have some input, we'll take them on board when you respond to that, if you don't mind. So I don't know which one of you is going to respond first.
Yeah, I'll do it.
You do it, Neil. Thank you.
The good news is I've spoken to the scheme designer today. The proposals are going to be ready for early next week. So as soon as we have those proposals, I'll obviously share them with you and have a chat with Mr Ferguson as well. I know that there's some improved signs and lines on there. There's some speed cushions is mentioned. These are all potential options. We're not saying we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We need to have a chat to see what might be preferred. Sorry.
Thank you, Neil. That's absolutely fine. Are you happy with? Oh, sorry. Sorry,
no, I'm finished. I thought I had turned that on, but it is on.
Sorry, Neil. Are you happy with that, Cliff?
I haven't finished yet.
Oh, sorry.
I was just checking if I'd turned that on, but it is on now. Sorry, and one of the things as well, I've asked them to look at a domed roundabout, that roundabout which people are driving over. It needs to be domed. Yeah. So if that's domed, that may deflect traffic round a lot better than what it currently does. The accident which happened a couple of weeks ago, we haven't had any concrete details on that yet from the police. They're still investigating what the situation was with that. So as soon as we have anything, we'll be able to
see if there's anything we need to react to.
The charging the driver.
Right.
Yeah, the driver.
Okay.
Through my job, I work with the police on this, getting a CCTV off the bus.
Right.
And they are charging the driver. The girl's home from hospital, but I've just been informed she's on a feeding tube and
Right.
carries that. So she's in a bad way.
Right. Okay. Sorry to hear that, obviously, but but once we get the details through, the firm details, we'll obviously see what happened there. I did recently contact the police, probably after we met, and it is with the neighbourhood police, who probably did the enforcement and Ian Levy was out. The speed camera van hasn't been out there yet, but I will be speaking to them again soon to see if we can get them to come and visit there, because I know you said they could park near your property as well, so I'll chase that up as well. We haven't done the speed surveys yet. They were due to be put out a few weeks ago, but the traffic lights are on there. Obviously that would totally distort the results. I've been checking our One Network website, and looking at that, the traffic lights are due to come off this week, so if that is the case, I would imagine we'll get the traffic lights out.
Just check there's another set to go on in a couple of weeks after that.
Right. We'll check that all out with Streetworks, and if we can get them done next week, that'll be great. We can get them done. The previous survey was done 3 years ago. Clearly, a lot's changed since that data was done. You've got the bus gate in there, for example, which has probably had a big impact on the volume of traffic. So it wasn't good when we were there. So we just need to get some new data, see how things have changed, see how the volumes have changed, and we'll see what we can do. And obviously, once we have the proposals, we'll have a chat. Okay.
Thank you. I've got Kath. Kath, would you like to come in?
I would just like to hear what the councillor said regarding the speed on that road. It's horrendous, absolutely is. But because it's leading on to Lavicall Road, and we've got the situation on Coupon Road, it'd be great to see we get that relief road brought in, because that is much needed. And you can see the more housing that's being built up, the more cars that's getting on the road, it's getting ridiculous. And I hope it doesn't take as long as what it's taken for Hodgins Road and Derby Street.
Thank you, Kath.
Been designed 3 years now.
Is anyone else, any other member? Brian?
Thank you, Chair. Listening to the applicant there, 2011 you said when you voiced concerns about this, and now, you know, where we are now, 2022. If it was raised as a concern now, you know, there should be some history of the process then. But before I make some comments, well, one of the comments is that, you know, the report is good, but I'm an Ashington lad, and I would have loved a map in there to show me exactly where it is and a little bit more clarity. I googled it this morning, had a look at it, so I know where we are now. But maybe just when we're doing these kind of presentations, a map. You also mentioned about the reported police accidents. What I'm more concerned about is the unreported accidents to the police. So that there in itself may just be as many, if not more, where people just have a bump or a near miss. So, you know, it's great that they're being reported, but I don't think it'll give the full story. And I'm very mindful that the relationship with the police around speeding, from my experience, isn't that good. You know, NCC officers are fantastic, they do the best they can, but the police are a strong arm, and it says in the report a couple of times, you know, that you're working closely with the police. Well, I would like to see that. You know, you'd have to persuade me that that was going to happen. I think the applicant is probably working towards a date of completion. And I take on board what you're saying, if there's a lot of work getting done around there. So this petition's been forwarded. I'm assuming that there'll be some sort of a consultation with the local area. So maybe as a quick first fix, that we look at those speed humps that are along Choppington, that are screwed to the floor. So once the consultation's done, and it's accepted, because I don't think anybody will be against this, that we look at the first fix, putting those in, because afterwards they can be removed when your new schemes come up. So it's just a bit of an idea. of dealing with the problem straight away. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yes, would you like to come in, Daniel?
Thanks, Chair. Neil, obviously, I know you said proposals early next week, but when can we actually see some action on this proper to begin?
I wouldn't like to comment at this stage as to when we have something physical on the ground. Obviously, we've got the some proposals which do include the board down cushions, but in terms of getting physical work on the ground, I wouldn't like to say. Obviously, road markings, signage, the dome roundabout, that could be fairly straightforward to do, but there's the cost implication of physical measures. I mean, we might be able to approach the developer for some contributions. Obviously, the local transport plan's pretty much been sorted for this coming year, so physical work might be difficult, but we can see what we can do through the urban road safety allocation. So we can certainly do something. But I wouldn't like to say for definite when things will go on the ground at this stage, unfortunately.
Just have a supplementary, Chair.
Of course you can, Daniel.
Thank you. So obviously, I know Mr. Ferguson's gave a really passionate speech about that. So if it could, Neil, I'd really like to see this as a priority, please.
Could I just ask Mr. Ferguson, are there any speed monitors around that particular area that the police could get the data from to hand to the police? To give you extra, like reinforcement is to see the average speed that's going back and forth.
I've heard out that the fact that now the more modern ones, you can download the data, but I think this one that is maybe 7 or 8 year old now, I don't know if that's got the capability of doing that, or for a cost analysis, I don't know how expensive it would be. Can they add that technology onto this one that we've already got? I don't know the answers to that question, by the way. Okay.
Thank you. I'll ask the same question to our officers. Oh, sorry, Cliff, before I bring the officers in.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to be ordering some new speed surveillance equipment for around there, the interactive speed signs. I'll check the specification to see if they've got that sort of a capability when they come. I don't know if Neil would be able to, or Robin would be able to elaborate on that.
Neil, to respond, please.
Yeah, the majority of new interactive signs do have that capability to record the data. And a lot of parish and town councils already send us data, and so yeah, that's certainly possible. I think you're possibly right about that existing sign. I think it might not include that data. The town council could confirm that, but certainly new ones more than capable of doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. Brian, would you like to come in?
Just a little bit more background information about the speed monitor cameras. We've got them in Ashington, and what happens is they have obviously they indicate the speed that you're going up to the camera, and they also indicate the speed when you've went past the camera to see if the vehicles are slowing down or taking any notice. But there's also a number count on there, and as far as we were aware, we could upgrade those basic cameras to the next phase. I think they came in at the time of, I'm just guessing, around about £2,500 a camera, and that was probably going back about 3 years.
Thank you, Brian. Anyone else would like to come in before we move to the officer's recommendation? Kath?
I was just thinking that the police are doing monitoring on the roads. They've got the speed guns. I mean, I suppose Neil, you could speak to the inspector and see if you could get them out with the speed guns along that road, because they're pretty good at doing that.
Thank you, Kath. Would Neil or Robin like to wind up before? Oh, sorry, Cliff.
Yeah, thanks. I'd just like to come back and counsel on this, but there we've been pushing the police, and to be honest, we kind of feel a little bit let down, not just by, how slow things are going with the council, but also with the police as well. We've pushed, Mr. Ferguson's pushed, I've been in contact weekly with the police, and they'll come back, they haven't got resources to sit there, but then they tell us they'll put it into a scheme, and yeah, they'll get somebody there. We've never seen any there. I've asked for data, they haven't provided any data.
Sorry to hear that, Cliff. Would any of the officers like to comment before we go to the recommendation? Robin?
Just like to take a little bit off it from how we go through our process. Obviously, I'm not local. Obviously, I'm coming into it, addressing the petition, listening to Councillor Humphreys, talking to Ian Levy, and what I'm going off is speed surveys quite old in comparison to what we need. It's saying average speeds are 30 miles per hour, that I'm taking on board that that's clearly not the case. So we need up-to-date speed information, but we only need the up-to-date speed information in order to back up the priority for going through the LTP programme. It's just so that I can sit and compare it against all the thousands of schemes that we're doing and say, this stands out from the rest because clearly there is a speeding issue, there is an accident issue there, and we've got to do that. So I take everything on board. We've got the member scheme through discussions with Councillor Humphrey. We're carrying on with the design of potential options. We just need the backup of the data now to ensure we get it taken forward, and that's why we can't give you a confirmed date just now about hard fact work on the ground.
May I ask, if you're the backup data that way, because obviously some of the councillors, county councillors, putting small member schemes into modernising these, speed monitors. How up to date have they been to collect all the data? Because we were under the impression the new ones that we placed possibly about 3 years ago were up to date, and the police could just automatically, get the data off there to the police station. Is there a mechanism where you have to go to the police to get that for your information, or does the police just send it to you because residents and perhaps councillors raise it because they think they've got an issue? Don't know which officer could answer that, please. Neil?
Yeah. So we physically carry out speed surveys. Our traffic survey technician will carry out surveys. That's the strips on the ground. And the interactive signs, the parish councils, they're an asset. They become an asset of the parish and town councils. And when they're bought, they can choose to add the speed collecting capability in there. If they've got that capability, they can send us the data. They can send it to the local neighbourhood police. We can probably find out through the town council, if that sign which is currently in place has that capability. And if it has, we can probably download the data from there. I know the new ones you can just do it by Bluetooth, just a click of a button and it's down. I don't know about the older equipment, but certainly I know the new stuff's fairly straightforward. So.
And could you adapt the ones that perhaps is the one in Blyth? Could you adapt the old ones to have this Bluetooth mechanism in now, or would you have to buy a brand new one? As Cliff's saying that he's going to be looking at. So when we spent our money 3 years ago, will that not be good enough now?
That stuff will be good enough, but I think by the sounds of it, this interactive sign's been in place for probably 7, 8 years maybe. Often they only have a lifespan of 9, 10 years, the signs, so it may be a little bit older. I mean, I don't know for definite, I'm just guessing, but we can certainly check that out, check when it was put in.
Thank you very much. Alex?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just something Mr Snowden said there made me think. If members are purchasing through the members' local improvement schemes speed indicator units, but the information goes to town and parish councils, that doesn't seem as if it's going to the right place. When it takes a county decision to approve the member spending that money, but the information doesn't come back to county. I think we've got that wrong somewhere, Chair.
Thank you. Would an officer like to respond to that, please? Robin?
This is something that comes up a lot. The county council itself doesn't pay for the signs. They're not recognised signs. Sorry, they're not recognised Department of Transport signs for the types of locations that we're putting them in. They're only recognised for where there's clear accident black spots nationally, whereas we do support putting them in. And that's why they actually become the responsibility of the parish councils. And I do understand the support and funding them through the members of schemes, so we're all in support of that. And we do get some information back from parish councils. They collect it all and they sometimes send that back in because it actually supports a number of the schemes that they're wanting us to take forward, that information. So
thanks, Chair. I mean, I'm very much supportive of partnership working. It just seemed odd when you were requesting that information. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Kath, would you like to come in?
I would. We do have these schemes going with the speed cameras, the monitors, and I know we do regularly get an update on them. I'm surprised to hear that the communication's not coming from Blyth Town Council to county, to be honest with you, when we've got an officer there that regularly updates them. So I can't understand where this is coming from. You know, how long have you had this petition in now? How long have you known about the petition that's come about the speeding?
Probably January, was it submitted January?
January.
I'm guessing.
So you haven't actually asked for the information that you needed from then till now. I think it's, you know, this is something that really needs looking at, because if the town council, we are doing the job of the monitoring the progress of the speed and that, but it's just the connecting there. And I think surely you should have spoke to the town council before now to see if there has been any issues. I can't get my head around that when they are monitoring them.
Thank you. Kath, would you just like to respond? Robin? Neil?
I think we'll take that forward in the future. Yeah.
Sorry? Thank you. Right, if there's no one else who'd like to say anything, I'll just go to the recommendation. And the recommendation, it is recommended that the local area council note the content of this report and support the actions proposed. Are we in agreement? Thank you very much. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr Ferguson, for coming. You know, you've been very welcome and you've given a passionate statement, and we do appreciate your frustration, and hopefully it'll be resolved. But thank you. You can leave or you can stay here the rest of the meeting. Thank you. Thank you very much for attending. Anyway, safe journey home. Right, item number 5 on the agenda. Unfortunately, we were going to have Jamie Driscoll, the North Tyne Mayor, coming in attendance today, but Rebecca's going to read an email she received from his office last night. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yes, Chair. So I've received an email, says the Mayor has COVID symptoms, and though he is tested negative, advice is still to limit contact with others if you are symptomatic. So I'm afraid he's sending apologies for the meeting this afternoon. He has asked if you would please pass his apologies to the Chair and members, and for the short notice. Best wishes.
Thank you, Rebecca. So unfortunately can't attend this afternoon, but I'm sure that you know, we'll wish him a speedy recovery. In fact, if he has got COVID, because it's nasty, and hopefully he might be able to attend a future meeting. Thank you, Rebecca. And then we'll move on to item number 6, which everybody loves, the local services issues. And I'm sure that we've got a brilliant officer here today, Ray Whelans, and I just want to give members an update of what's happening.
Thank you, Chair. Actually, good afternoon rather than good evening this time. But can I just start by, on the neat side of things, the winter works are continuing at the rate we expected. But since the last local area council, we have experienced a mild winter period. It has helped the teams recover from some ground lost over the storm Arwen. We do continue to work a 28-hour week during the winter period on the ground staff. This ends actually on the 25th of this month, and all ground staff revert to the summer working, which is a just over a 43-hour week, to take advantage of the lighter evenings from the 20th of March. Progress through the scheduled work has been a challenge, but has been successful. We are continuing working to complete the schedule and winter works task, and I would ask members to alert me at their earliest convenience if you have any requested work you believe hasn't been completed or started. We have finalised preparations for the upcoming grass cutting season, and all grass cutting equipment has either been serviced or is scheduled. We have started cutting grass actually in most areas, and will continue depending on ground conditions. The routes have all been reviewed in both areas of the main towns, from Stakeford Depot, where we cover all of the Ashington, Bedlington, and I say Bedlington, I know it's not here, members, but the routes are covered from there, along with Camas and Newbiggin areas. The seasonal ground maintenance positions for this year are in process of being filled with seasonal staff. We have them in place at Stafford Depot, and recruiting is ongoing for Blyth, with 2 vacancies to fill. There was a low application rate this year, and we're finding it difficult to engage seasonal workers in some positions. But we have been in touch with a member that is the council staff bank, and she's happy to help you on the positions that we haven't filled yet, so we've got meetings with her. On the weed control activities, and I know everybody loves weed control, we will be using the blue dye this year. So we'll see how that goes. It was well received in the pre-pandemic days. Street cleansing, it is business as usual. And we hopefully anticipate that the increase in the footfall experienced last year may reduce a little bit. Fingers crossed. And it should ease pressure on the cleansing teams. On Newbiggin, the cleansing routes are ongoing with the area. In addition, the Town Council have agreed to renew the partnership for additional 2 seasonal operatives to carry out a variety of duties. These are determined by the Town Council. The work on Newbiggin Beach to install a deterrent for windblown sand is nearing completion, or may be complete. I didn't get an update the day before the meeting. And we are scheduling a clean up of the sand in the promenade area. It is complete, thank you. The Camas and Sleepburn cleansing routes are being followed. The mechanical sweeper is scheduled for the area next week, actually, from the 21st of March. And the litter pick is scheduled in cleanse of the Brock Lane. Is also to be done. I will be speaking to sewers, as there have been obviously reports of litter coming from the back of the vehicles in there, and they're leaving the site rather than going into the site as well. In Ashington, we've agreed new zones with Ashington Town Council, with all areas now cleansed on a set day, and we will be monitoring progress and monitoring all areas with the total mobile AEQ inspections. We have had some issues with Maple and Chestnut and the bin compounds. We will continue to monitor the compounds as we have issues on fly tipping daily with a rapid response team there, sometimes twice daily at times, to keep them to an acceptable standard. The other issues around the bulk bins are contamination and the recycling bins. At the present time, we're having to service these as a general waste on the weekly collections. And I have made inquiries about installing some CCTV within Maple and Chestnut to the day of fly tipping, and I will update councillors when I have the further information. I should know something by next week, so I will email councillors on that. Within Blyth, the cleansing teams are active within the area and continue to work well with Blyth Town Council. Inspections carried out by Blyth Town Council officers in association with NCC officers. Overnight cleansing, just for information, on the Spine Road is starting scheduled on the 2nd of April, and it's for 5 consecutive weekends. On waste side of things, residual and recycling, it is business as usual for the waste collection, and we are still seeing elevated tonnages due to COVID. We put this down to many people now working from home and generating waste there rather than at their workplace. And due to the rate of housing growth in recent years, the waste service will see additional investment this year. We'll receive 2 additional RCVs and crew, and work is underway to evaluate existing demands on the service and plan routes to ensure they're deployed in the most efficient way possible. The garden waste collections have started, and increased housing customer numbers have meant additional tweaking of rounds. We have increased to 12 collection days over the 2 weeks now taking place within the southeast in the area. Initial take-up for the service is high, and the scheme remains very popular. It's just a little bit of additional information. You're all aware from the last time. I think the last trial was extended 12 months. I know it doesn't cover the areas, but the yields we're getting remain encouraging. And there is a food waste collection trial currently being planned. But we do need a special collection vehicle that's being resourced from our fleet department. And members will be provided with more information on the trial when plans are finalised. That completes my report, Chair.
Thank you very much. Ray, that was very informative. Is there any members? Caroline?
Yeah, first off, I just want to say thank you to you and the team, Ray, because you're doing a fantastic job. Obviously, I'm over the moon to hear about the bin stores and trying to tackle that problem across there. I have spoke to you previously about the problem of fly tipping on private land, and it's becoming more of an issue. And because it's private land, it is not NCC's problem to go and clear it up. The landowner says that it's not their problem because they've not dumped it there. And we're stuck in this situation where our towns are being littered and are an absolute mess in some places, and the local residents are having to put up with it. What are we going to do to stop this and start really coming down on people? Because something needs to be done, because people are getting away with this. People are using Facebook, selling pages to go and pick people's rubbish up and then dumping it in the same places over and over again. So enforcement, I know it's been said about like the bin stores that things can't be done. We need something to be done, because if not, this problem's not going to go away and it's going to continue to fall at the taxpayer's door to keep on paying for this problem. So what are we going to do about it? But you are doing great apart from that.
Councillor, I'll take that forward, because we know the issues on private land. And to be honest, I don't have an answer available at the present time. But I will come back to you on that.
Yeah, I think it is an issue all over Ashington and Camus, Blyth, Newbiggin. I'm not forgetting anybody, hopefully. Brian, would you like to come in?
Thank you, Chair. A few questions. You mentioned the communal bins. I'll go through them one by one. Do you feel as though that there's some benefit in that? Do you feel the area around the communal bins are cleaner than what they were when plastic bins, plastic bags were left there for people to put all of their waste in, their food, their bottles, everything? So do you feel as though that there's some movement there and there's some positive vibes around that one?
Yes, Councillor, there's definitely a positive change within that. We can see the difference on the streets themselves. So it is a positive action.
Right. Second question is around the grass cutting. Could we consider, as we go into the summer, the weather conditions, so that, you know, if we've had heavy rain a couple of days before, can we redeploy the manpower to do other things rather than cut the grass? Because a poor grass cut lasts about 2 or 3 weeks. So that's a consideration. I welcome the idea of the weed programme coming back, especially with the blue dye-in, because the reality is we kind of got a hold of it a little bit better than we've done in past years, last year, but we're always striving as a county to do better. You mentioned the litter at the top of the Spain Road. Well, you mentioned litter on the Spain Road. At the top of the Spain Road by the Sandyby roundabout, where we had a lot of litter came from the building site. That's been cleaned up to the degree, but not as 100%. So I was just wondering, where does that bill lie? Does it lie back with the development and the construction, where we as a county can charge them? You know, I know it was a bad weather, but there was a lot of stuff come across that Spain Road, and it was very, very dangerous. The other thing is, and I think my colleague mentioned it, enforcement. We need to see people enforcement around all levels of local services, whether it's dog fouling, whether it's littering, or whether it's fly tipping. And we need to be seen publicly to say that we're addressing it. And my last point was that, you know, you mentioned that you work with Ashington Town Council around the set days of various areas to be cleaned up. Would that information be able to forward it to the county council as it aren't on the Ashington Town Council, so we get a great understanding of the cleaning in the wards we represent as well?
So I don't see any reason why not. I'm sure Ashington Town Council wouldn't have any objections to that, so you know exactly what's going on within your wards.
Just one, sorry Chair, one final point. Can we, as elected members, and I'm basically talking about the full of the southeast part of Northumberland, if there's a breakdown or a lack of manpower to provide a service, can you update the local member so there's an understanding there to go along with you? Because in Ashington we had 2 road sweepers down, and it wasn't until we got to the complaints and that level where we had to make the inquiries. So just generally an update, if road sweepers, if gully cleaners and various other equipment breaks down, just let us know. Thank you.
I'll certainly, sorry Chair, if you don't mind. Yeah, Council, I'll certainly put something in there so the senior team leader copies you into emails to see if anything untoward is happening on the actions of vehicles or manpower. so you're aware what's happening within the area.
Thank you, Ray. Is that okay, Brian? Are you happy with that? Yeah. Thank you. I'll bring Alex in.
Thanks, Chair. Can I say it was nice yesterday to send Mr. Whelan's a complimentary email. The standard of grass cutting, if anybody hasn't gotten it yet, to me is just so much better than it's been for a long, long, long time. And it was quite simple. It was because they collected the grass. So when I come back from the pub and I walk in the house, I'm not bringing the grass into the hallway and getting wrong off the wife anymore. So I've got to thank you for that, Ray. I'd also very much like to send an email back into next week for doing Brock Lane, because that is unbelievable. Brian's right about the Spine Road at North Seaton, but he ought to have a look at Brock Lane. It's continuous, and I'm pleased you've identified it's from Suez vehicles, because that's where it's come from years. However, as you know, there's always a but from a councillor. We recently agreed £1.5 million and we're doing a survey on cycleways and footpaths. That doesn't include one penny on maintenance of those cycleways and footpaths. And the state of them at the moment are not good. We have the English cycle route, passes right through the water, Sleekburn, takes you along the coast, takes you across the River Wansbeck and comes out parallel with that roundabout at North Seaton. You've got to walk with your bike. You can't ride your bike. So please, Ray, that maintenance programme needs stepping up on those cycle routes. I mention that because I'm moving house shortly, and the person who's on Facebook the most complaining about these cycle routes is moving 2 doors next to me. So I would like to sort it out before I move. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ray. Would you like to reply to that, Ray? Thanks.
It was very nice to receive that, and the team appreciated the compliment there. Can I mention that we didn't collect? We've got a new type of blade on the grass cutters, and it actually mulches the grass, so it doesn't send it flying everywhere, and it doesn't create things. So it is leave a better finish. And I will have a look at the cycleways for you.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. That would be very appreciated, because I think we all get, where we've got cycle paths, we all get residents' concerns about that who do like using their bikes, and unfortunately they're getting their clothes ripped with bushes and they can't find where the cycle path is, and so there's been quite a few injuries. So that would be wonderful to take on board, Ray. Anna, you would like to come in?
Yeah, just with you talking about a new blade on the grass cutter, I'm just curious with all the debris that's left on some of the grass areas, whether that's causing you big problems, Ray, with all the tree branches that are still scattered everywhere.
Yeah, we do have some issues around, especially around the Blyth area as well, with the grass, with some of the trees still down that haven't been attended to yet. I've taken us up with the tree officer, and he's going to send me an update on what's going to be done within the areas and that. There's not such an effect within the Ashington area. It's we didn't have any large, some trees fell over obviously, but there is some real bad places within Blyth that's near residents' property, and that's still to be looked at. So once I have an update from the officer, it's Leon, I'll update.
I just worry the grass will grow so long while you're waiting for it to be cleared.
So that's why we did make an early start this year on the grass cutting. With, in previous years it's been left to sort of April time, and you get a hot spell of weather, then a rain, hot spell again, the grass just shoots away and it just looks untidy. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Could I just ask before, because I've got 3 other members who would like to come in, does that mean that with the collecting the blade and everything, would that interfere with any rubbish that's actually lying on the grass? Because we know people fly tip, so will that have an impact, and would that damage that piece of equipment you've got? Because obviously there's a lot of rubbish before they cut the grass, and will that just throw the debris into the bushes, etc., do you think, Ria? Or will still litter pickers go out before to pick it all up before that actually happens? That's one of my questions. And the other one, very quickly, is I noticed you mentioned sitter sites before. Now, there is an issue on Arlington Road because there's a sitter site up there. and frequently, and I know, you know, your team responds fantastically, but they're responsible for a lot of the litter that they spread about, because sometimes the nets are flattened about and the nets aren't put on properly. And, you know, for all it's been reported, it's not fair that, you know, your team's got to go out and collect their rubbish. What enforcement will be imposed because of their neglect to do what they're supposed to do and pick up after they come from the site, and come, because obviously there's a lot, and it's in the bushes and everywhere, and people's residences have witnessed, you know, the actions of the rubbish coming off those wagons, and they don't just pass hourly, they pass constantly. So there's always a horrendous amount of rubbish lying around. Thanks, Ray.
Chair, I've noted your comments, Chair. On the grass side, if you don't mind, it's you know, part of the duties of anybody grass cutting should be litter picking first. But we do find if we let the grass get too long, there's any large stones underneath, it can damage the blades, and just we've got to watch what the lads are doing there when they're out. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Right, I've got a list. I've got Brian first, then Daniel, and then Mark. And I don't know if anybody else wants to add their name. Brian?
Thank you, Chair. Apologies for coming back in, Ray, but it was your own fault. You mentioned around trees. You know, the Chair's ward up by the high school, there was a massive tree came down at the entrance of the school. And, you know, it's slowly but surely being taken away. But my concern is that, would it be possible to ask to look at all schools around the southeast and Northumberland to see if there's anything dangerous lying around those schools now? Because it just brings me back to a story about 3 or 4 years ago when there was a child going to school and a branch fell off and killed that child. So I think as a point of safety, can you request that the tree officer, when in the localities, puts that down and does an inspection of the trees around schools and the routes to schools as well? Thank you.
Thanks. Would you like to respond to that, Ray?
Duly noted, Chair. I'll speak to both tree officers. Obviously, it's Barry that covers the north end, and Leon for the south, the Blyth end. But I will speak to both tree officers.
Thank
and
you.
pass the concerns on.
Thank you very much, Ray. Daniel, would you like to come in?
Another tree question, Ray. Just want to pass on my thanks, that was all. There was the 2 large trees down on South Newsham Road in my ward, up the stead on the back of Mallard Way. They've gone now. Just pass on my thanks to the team for that. I wasn't really sure when they were going to get done, and I know there's been, if I'm right, priority on trees that are of concern, and then ones that are out the way, like those 2 are left to the end. So there is a system in place, am I right, that those trees that are, you know, still down, which are more of a concern, are dealt with first, and then they go down the line to pick up the ones later on?
I'm sort of passing on what I've heard about the things. It's not my area on the trees, but there is trees of concern that they had to look to first before they could go on to the ones who they deemed safe. I wouldn't say safe, but not so much of a concern, because you had a lot of trees that had broken branches hanging down off them. There was a lot of them leaning over after the storm that they had to see to. And it's nice to see that they're now attending to the others going forward, but I will check up with both tree officers in for the areas and send an update.
Yeah, Danny would like to come back, Ray.
Can it also be asked, Ray, about the stumps that are left there? Will they get levelled out and the grass levelled out as well?
I don't know. Again, to the tree officers, I will make that question and see what happens.
Thank you.
I mean, you probably have seen over the years that when trees down, the stump tends to stay there for a long time. But I don't know the answer to that at present.
I'm sure you'll get Daniel an answer as the rest of it, because I think there are a lot of stumps. But, you know, really appreciate what the tree officer and the team's done, because there's been so many down with the storms, and, you know, one after another. They've certainly had their work cut out, so we do appreciate how quickly they've gotten on with their jobs, and just please send our thank you, because we do appreciate it. I've got Ken. Would you like to come in, Ken?
Yeah, it's just about stumps. I'm sure the council has a machine that grinds these stumps up.
You're quite right, Councillor, because we have seen it in use. People's Park area, not a couple of years ago when we were cleaning out there. So again, you know, once we sort that out, sorry, People's Park, it wasn't People's Park. But they have got a stump grinder, but I'm not too sure how many they do have, to be honest. But I'm sure I'll get an answer from the tree teams on that.
Oh, thank you. Mark, I'm terribly sorry. Bring you in now.
It's all right, Chair. Ray, it's probably not your area, but St John's Church, there was quite a bit of money spent on that, like 40 odd grand. Is there any way you can get the sweeper down there, because you can hardly see the path for branches that's come off trees, because there's quite a bit of damage in that graveyard, plus leaves. And I think you've had it down before, and I'd much appreciate if you could get it down, because I'm now speaking to Stephen, it's got to come through you, I think, to get it down. So if you could, well, I'd be very grateful.
Yeah, no problem, Councillor. We'll have a look at that. I'm actually up that way tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll have a look around and see what can be done.
Thank you.
Anyone else before we thank Ray for his... No, thank you. Well, thank you, Ray, very much. It's greatly appreciated. You know, your report's wonderful, as to Robin and Neil, you know, and Stephen, he's gone, so thank you very much. You're very welcome to stay at the end of the meeting if you like, because we haven't got very much to do now, but it's just really the next item number 7 on the agenda is... Sorry? Oh, sorry, Rebecca.
Neil doing an update on behalf of Mick Carr.
Oh, right, sorry. Robin, I believe you're going to do an update on behalf of Mick Call.
I was hoping I might get away without that. So, apologies again.
Sorry, we didn't know we had one on the agenda today, so I must apologise, Robin. We thought you were just here to accompany Neil.
I originally was. So apologies again from Mick Carl. I hope I do his report justice. So all highways inspectors and maintenance crews continue to work inspecting, fixing carriageway defects, making repairs and making safe Category 1 defects across the South East area. A gully emptier is fully deployed, dealing with reported reactive issues in addition to planned cyclic maintenance. An additional gully emptier is also working in the Ashington and Blyth area on cyclic maintenance. On the large tarmac patching that's ongoing, large tarmac patching has been carried out in the following locations: Links Road, Blyth, Wensleydale Terrace, Blyth, Garden City Villas, Ashington, the A189 Woodhorn Roundabout, Woodley, Newbiggin, St Andrews Terrace, Ashington, Coronation Street, Blyth, Station Road Junction, Institute Road, Ashington, Station Road, Ashington, Bus Lay-by, Willow Crescent, Blyth, Ford Drive, Blyth, and Tynedale Drive, Blyth. Drainage improvements. Drainage improvements have been carried out in the following areas: Black Close Bank, Ashington, and the A189 Spine Road. On the local transport plan, carriageway resurfacing that's been ongoing. Footway and carriageway local transport plan resurfacing have been carried out in the following areas: Newsham Road, Blyth, finished surface NCC1. Norham Road, Ashington, finished surface NCC1. And ongoing regeneration schemes that you'll be aware of: the Bode Street Blyth project started on Monday the 10th of January 2022 for 48 weeks. And the Waterloo Road Junction, Blyth, is ongoing. On winter maintenance services continue. We continue to have an average winter so far in both snow and precautionary gritting. A small restock of salt across the county has been completed. This will ensure we have sufficient resilience levels for the remainder of the winter period. This includes a 5,000 tonne strategic store located in Powerburn. And that's the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Are there any members would like to? No? Oh, Brian? No? Brian? Oh, yeah. Yes, thank you. Brian, like to come in?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you for the report. I would like to obviously chase up the idea of the gullies and how they are cleaned out, and if there's some sort of a reporting process to come back to elected members. Because there's no Councillor Ball and myself, we had a drive around the whole of Ashington and identified gullies that were a problem. So it'd be great if we could get that report to see what's been done. You mentioned about the salt for the winter services around salting. Once again, a lot of the salt bins that residents would have to use directly outside the houses were topped up, but sadly we've still got the dead hard salt underneath. So a bin for next winter will only be half full of usable salt. So if we could try and get that together as well. The other thing that I was wanted on a personal thing for my ward is outside the White Elephant. I would like to have a survey of the drainage beside the bus stop and where the post office is, because it continuously floods there. Councillor Parry just lives along there, so he's my biggest complaint. So we know it happens on a regular basis, whether it's through the summer or through the winter. So if we can get the cameras up there, have a look to see exactly what the issues and the problems are. And same again, I'll keep ranting on about it every time I see somebody from highways. I think as a southeast area, we need to address when there's a pothole. We need to understand the size of where it gets repaired. We have to be more proactive than reactive. So if our teams see a small hole, let's just fix it and it'll buy you time in the long run. Well, deteriorate too much before we do anything with it. The teams are doing the best they can do with the limited budget that this government's given them. So the reality is, let us try and look at it and work in a different way. Now, your highways inspectors look and they've got a graph there of a size of a problem. Let's just throw that away. Let's not just follow other authorities. Let's have our own policy and let's get the things done. Now, I know that the government has given you, 2.5 million for C and new class roads. I'm not sure how you're going to use that, but a good way would be fix potholes and fix the smaller issues quickly, and it might just buy you time in the next 2 or 3 years. So thank you very much.
Robin, would you like to reply to Brian's questions, please?
I've noted those points and I'll report them to McCall.
Very much appreciated.
Okay. I think we've all got issues with drains and flooding, and I'm sure that it has been reported all over, because I've got a massive issue, but it's solving the problem before it actually starts flooding, because there are absolutely, well, I suppose everywhere has in the drains has got leaves, goodness knows what else is in them, and I think before it actually floods or it's getting worse, we can see that. When officers are out and about, perhaps they could identify where the flooding takes place and use their network for communicate with each other to say, I've just passed so-and-so and it's absolutely flooded. May we look at the drains and perhaps, as Brian says, do surveys to see what the issues are, because it might just be not that they're blocked, they might be just they're collapsing. Thank you. If you don't mind noting that, Robin, as well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Caroline?
Yeah, mine's also about gullies. So I've raised time and time again about the John Street, and that area keeps on getting reported as well by members of the public. And it just seems their Station Road on the corner, it's reports one after the other, and we don't even need to have really heavy rain for them to be blocking up. And obviously it's something deeper than just needing a quick gully clean, because it's the same areas that are getting a clean. There's something a bit more serious that needs to be looked at in them areas. And the other thing, line painting. In my ward recently, there's been some fantastic line painting done. How does the plan for that work? Because I've had, as I say, there's been some great line painting work done, but then it suddenly stops and the area next door to it is equally as bad as what it was. So I'm just wondering, how does that scheme of work? Because, as I say, some bits look great, but now it's actually made the other bits look even worse again. So how does it work?
That'll be the same as everything we've got, even on pavement management. It's trying to work out where the optimum point is to stop, because there's just so many lines that will need to be repainted. So there'll be a programme, and if we go further on and do the bit that obviously looks, you might as well do that while we're there, then it means we're doing less somewhere else. And someone's just got, it's just the way the cut-off is. Sorry.
Officers? No, thank you very much. Well, sorry about that, Robin. I didn't realise you were here on behalf of Mick. But you're welcome to stay, as I said before, if you've got nothing else to comment on. But we're not nearly through our programme. So, right, the next item on the agenda is item number 7, and it's just with regard to members' local improvement scheme from pages 1 to 44, and it's for just information only. And item number 8 on the agenda, to note the local area council work programme, pages 45 to 50. Item number 9, date and time of next meeting will be held on Wednesday the 13th of April at 4 p.m. Venue to be agreed, because we're not quite sure whether we'll be here or Rebecca's able to source different venues that's, you know, that suits our needs in the community. So we'll be finding out with Rebecca where we'll actually be for our next meeting. Item number 10 on the agenda is urgent business, and Rebecca has something to read out for the members with regard to Blyth Beach Huts.
Yeah.
Rebecca?
So Councillor Nisbet raised a question which I'll read out, and then I'll read out the response from the officers. So we recently wrote collectively to you about the Blyth Beach Huts. We found your response disappointing. The beach huts in Blyth are being made inaccessible to local people because of the charges being made. Will you actively lobby Active Northumberland to look again at keeping these community assets accessible to local people for one-off bookings? Not everyone can afford to block book the huts, and while we welcome tourism into Blyth, it mustn't be at the expense of local people. And the response is, Active Northumberland had not made a firm decision on the availability of the beach huts for daily rental due to considerations regarding the national COVID-19 situation. I can now confirm that the beach huts will be available for daily rental this summer on the same basis as pre-pandemic. The officers liaised with Active Northumberland, and they have confirmed that the beach huts have only ever been available for hire during June, July and August.
Thank you, Rebecca. Would you like to come in, Kath?
Yeah, thanks for that, Rebecca. It's still a concern because they're saying they're only used between June, July and August. Now, I mean, the thing is, they used to be rented yearly, daily, all year round, because you've got some disabled groups use them, you've got people that have little parties for the kids in them, and it's been a valued asset to Blyth Valley Council. It past its time. These were allocated, these were built for the people of Blyth to use on a regular basis. Now I'm finding now there's only 6 allocated to a daily basis, which is, to me, is wrong. They're now getting them for a yearly rental, which I don't think is fair, because now if you try to book up for one day, you're not getting them because they're already booked up. I'm still a bit annoyed at the fact they're only being booked from June, July and August. I think they should be allowed to be booked all year round. So, but thanks for that, Rebecca, and I'll look forward to the response. Thank you.
Thank you. That will be duly noted, and I'm sure we'll get a response from Rebecca. Thank you very much, and Kath. Any other councillors would like to comment on the beach huts? No? Right. Thank you very much. Well, I would just like to thank you all for attending this afternoon. Been a very informative meeting, and hope you all have a safe journey home and stay safe and well and free of COVID. Thank you very much.